Okay, so you can see even in the triangle get-up, from a martial point of view, you start doing weird things. But they don't feel weird to you because you don't know the martial context. You can't imagine all the things that an aggressor can do to you. So you don't know when you deviate from the form that you are martially vulnerable. There's no context for your movement. And the only thing you have to rely on is your capacity to replicate the teacher's form. But that's nearly impossible. And I'm not talking about your body's different from your teacher's body. That's not what it is. It's that you see the technique from the ego tripartite. It is constantly being interpreted and placed in your own egocentric context. So it's placed in the context that reifies the I. And so the art is outside of the ego tripartite. So that deviation is always that. It's always a deviation. So you can either take decades of entering yourself into sparring context where you realize, oh God, my head's too low, or oh man, I'm heel weighted, or oh, I shouldn't be going forward right now. Or you could just replicate the teacher's technique more purely, less through your ego tripartite. But I find a happy medium between understanding the martial context. It's very important that you understand the martial context because you're going to fill in the blank. Just automatically, you always will. You will fill in that blank, that context. Without the martial experience, it's going to be wrong. It's going to be a deviation from the get-go anyways. It's going to be wrong. So let's look at the Tesubaki from yesterday. Okay? Let's look at it martially. And the first thing to note is Aikido Kihon Waza is not a one-to-one training application ratio. Meaning, a guy that grabs my wrist does not deserve for me to kill him by feloniously battering his head with the planet. It is a training device. And within the training device, you have some martial strategies and tactics. Not all that you will need, but some. And if you don't have those some, you will never be able to do the art martially. It won't happen. So we have to understand this some. What I'm talking about here is not the totality of what these training drills teach you. We're just looking at the martial side of things. So yesterday, we had the Aiki adhesion part. You need an Aiki adhesion skill. You need the internal skills. So you are working on that. You do have an angle cancellation on that arm. You have to understand basic concepts of checking a guy out through diagonals that cut through his height, width, and depth. And then you also have this notion of I'm going to control from 2 points. Okay? I want to know how wherever I'm touching, I'm controlling the guy from 2 points. By controlling, I mean that I am affecting the relationship between his center of gravity, his line of gravity, and his base of support. I am manipulating it. Okay? We're now going to go to Katata Dori, but it's going to be the same. Okay? And we're going to be able to understand one more thing from Kosa Dori. There is a notion that I work up the body from outside to the spine line. This is a very common strategy in martial arts. So I'm passing, all this in front here, passing, that's what I want. So when you're doing Kosa Dori, it's just one arm and pass his head to the other arm. When you're doing Katata Dori, you're going to have that same angle of cancellation. You're going to have the same Aikido adhesion, which you're passing it from one arm to the other arm to the head. That's what you want. Boom. Oh, this is it. I want to understand that strategy. Okay, let's go. All right, so Kosadori. The question was asked: Are you pulling him? No, you're not pulling him. Even though he's gripping, I'm not using his grip. So I'm not using this pincher move that he has here and the width of my hand to make him move. So he can open his hand and you can do it. That's the Aiki, the internal aspect. Okay? I have to be able to adhere, cause this adhesion. And it was that lets me get the 2 points. Those 2 points are controlling him. So I don't have to do this arm manipulation. If I am required to do the arm manipulation, that means I need control of his arms combatively. And that only makes sense to somebody who does not train combatively. Because when you do, you'll find out that is extremely hard to do, to get someone's arm, okay? Every new law enforcement officer I ever trained always thinks it's possible, and they realize after a few arrest attempts, it's not possible. Or you guys in your newaza, are you just killing arm bars like this and figure fours and kimuras? No, you're not, right? So it's as simple as he's trying to manipulate my arm some way, right? People just pull out their arm. So when you are grip dependent, you are arm dependent, and your martial viability is going way down. And that's not the strategy. The strategy, as I said, is to manipulate the relationship between his center of gravity, his line of gravity, and his base of support. Not to manipulate his arm. So when we go to this technique, it is the same thing. You have to have that Aikido adhesion there. You're not grip dependent. But on the other arm, you don't have it at all. You don't grab him. You're doing the same Aikido adhesion. So Aikido adhesion, Aikido adhesion. And then I go back to the same thing. Just 2 points of control. But not grabbing, not opening from back here. This drill could end here. That was it. You worked the drill. Work the drill. 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 This part here is another thing you're trying to learn. But it's not that first strategy. How do I clear the stuff between him and me? What stuff? His limbs. How do I get past his limbs and get to spinal control? Okay? Try it again. Okay, so again, this is, I'm moving 1, 2, head. 1, 2, head. 1, 2, head. Okay? That's the idea. So that means that when I bring him here, this hand is going to continue him going with that adhesion. Okay, it's not here, we stop, and then I go behind him. Because again, if you fought people, you'd realize this is not the opening. The 12-6 line is not the opening. Several things happen, okay? Either forget the wrist grab, because it was never about a wrist grab. But I have a guy aggressing. Well, he's going that way, and I'm going that way. We're going to pass each other, okay? Or he's going that way. I don't necessarily pass him, but now I'm going to be fighting his forward progress, okay? And again, if you don't ever fight, you don't realize you can't just grab people from the back of their body and chuck them down, okay? So you want to look for one more adhesion. And now, martially, you've set up the Irimi angle, which is not at the 12-6 line, but at the 3-9 line, okay? So interest yourself with setting up this 3-9 line, and then you'll probably interest yourself with actually doing the first martial tactic, pass him to the other hand, as opposed to check him, and then you're going to do this thing. He should still be going forward. Boom, he goes forward into the technique. Boom, forward still into the technique. Try to get that 3-9 line for your entry angle. Okay. The next martial skill is once I've passed his spinal control to my other hand, is how to manipulate the distal end of the lever. So it's distal because it's far from his center of gravity, okay? But how to manipulate the distal end of the lever in a way concentric with the art. So it's got to abide by yin-yang theory and non-contestation, okay? So because you have this forward progress to him, when you do this little circle here, his forward progress is going to start creating an adhesion on my hand as it's doing a kind of centripetal pattern in this spiral, okay? So it's not that I tilt his spine, it's that I'm going to do this little thing like this, do you see? I want to feel his centrifugal energy harmonizing or being capitalized upon with my centripetal energy. Do you get that? So that makes this one wrong, right? And that also makes these tilting things wrong. And again, if you spar, you realize, oh, I tilted the guy, but I can't do anything with it. You know, or I can't tilt the guy because he just let go of the arm control that I had, things like that. Okay, so I'm doing the first Aiki adhesion, arm pass, spinal control, and getting his forward progress to generate an integration with my centripetal energy, okay? So 1, 2, boom. Boom, forward, boom, there it is. You want to be able to feel that. Boom, forward, there it is. And that way, this arm does not become so mechanically a slave to the arm manipulation, okay? Because it's not really the major engine in that Kuzushi you see. Boom, again, don't think, oh, this is what I do when there's an arm grab. Don't think this is what I do when I pass the arm. No, it's just a skill. It's a totally unique skill set in the same drill. So I'm going to work on this, and now I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work on that too. Let's go back a step. So we'll leave the head control off for a second, and let's just look at this arm here, okay? So he has the hinge at the elbow, and then he has this ball and socket joint at his shoulder, okay? And so when you're below the elbow and you try to control him, it's very easy for him to open his arm. You see, he absorbs the energy that you had checking him. And then the same thing when I go above the elbow, but I'm on top of his arm, the ball and socket joint doesn't give me the control I want. So when I control his body, I'm going to control it here, above the elbow, making that joint irrelevant to what I'm doing. And then near the ball and socket joint, so that as it moves all around, I can stay with it. Do you see? It doesn't immediately go underneath me. So here, and then in the same way as on the neck control, I'm using the harmonization I'm doing between his centrifugal energy and my centripetal energy. That's making that stuck on there. So they're not independent. The two of them are what's moving him. Okay? So don't let that arm go dead. All right. Anytime I'm down below here, you're dependent upon the Aikido culture of some weirdo that keeps his hand stuck to yours, which is not an Aiki adhesion. That is a masquerade of a traditional, historical, internal aspect. This uke keeps his hand there, and you tell him some stupid thing like, he's protecting himself. It's like, there's all kinds of ways of protecting yourself rather than sticking yourself to me as the attacker, as the defender, okay? So, above, near the ball and socket joint, okay? Because now, the more that I'm not doing that, the more dependent I am on that arm or on that stupid training culture, and then the less martial my technique is going to be, meaning these aspects I will not be able to bring outside of the forms training and into more live environments. So you're going to see whether you were arm dependent or not as we move up to ski, okay? So he's going to do Jodan ski, boom, okay? And I have to do the arm pops, do you see? And then that part is exactly the same. So here comes his ski, boom! Reach out, arm pops. Like, this isn't a self-defense technique, this guy punching me. That's not what's happening, but you're taking away your grip dependency. You never started with the grip with the grip. So he goes, boom, there's that knock-3 line. Okay, so now we'll work on those skills outside of that cultivation environment, okay? So let's say, I don't know, just digress, I'll find it. Okay, so here, he did that. So here is my pass that I want, you see? Oh, this arm's gonna pass, and then I'm gonna do that little circle. Okay, so we're here, boom, pass this little circle. let's go. Okay. Okay. So again, you're just drilling. You're still just drilling. You're still just drilling this concept of see all this stuff, get rid of it, and start affecting that relationship, center of gravity, line of gravity, base of support. Okay, that's all you're doing. So he did that. I'm weaving outside, right? So pop, you're out here like this. Okay. So the first time my hand happened to be on the inside. You see. So I'm going to use the two hands to keep him going. So it's not a parry, and then I try to get back here because you can't get back there, as you've seen. You can't get back there. Okay. So as we go, this is going like that. But everything can shrink now as he has way more energy than in the Kihon. Okay. Everything kind of shrinks, but everything stays the same in principle. So boom, and I know now I will not be able to do the head manipulation of Irimi Nage because he has no more forward progress. Okay. So your timing is here. He has to be going that way for me to use my centripetal energy, which is why I can't stop him. I need him to go that way, and then the Aikido make sure he goes that way. And it's passing him, boom, right here. And that's the opening. The ending doesn't matter. Sometimes I just was here. He came that way, brought my hand here, and it was just immediate. Ending does not matter. Right? Maybe I'm here. Maybe he just evade entirely. He's over-penetrating. You can just go right to the second part. Okay? But you'll see that this skill set, boom, starts to open up. Boom, that opening there. So in this drill, I want to start learning the skill less and less in a structured way. So you're going to, I'll be again, okay? And don't take the first one. Let shit happen, okay? So I'm going to keep doing my aggression. And so you see, he didn't keep me going forward, okay? So let's see you. So he's keeping his aggression, right? Don't worry if you get tagged. Don't worry. That's not a big deal in this drill, okay? But you don't have to get tagged. Just keep working, and eventually you'll feel it. Boom. Keep going. Boom. Keep going. Boom. And you'll find it on the Yoshido Tenkan. Boom. Not just the Irimi. So, boom, boom, boom. Oh, keep going. Don't worry. You'll find it. Get back on the inside for me. Boom, boom, straighter. Keep going. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, there it is. Get on the inside. Good. Inside. Good. Penetrate. Boom. Boom, 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 pop. Ooh. Okay, kind of work the drill like that. You're getting a little bit of desensitization too. It's really up to Uke to keep the energy frame. Okay? Alright, let's go. Remember, I'm trying to drill a martial tactic. I'm not fighting the guy, right? So he has to set up, he has to do something that I would be on the outside and hence pass the arm and then find the head. Okay? So if he's going to start going on there you go, he's just here. Or he's not penetrating it at all. Do you get it? So your uke has to set up the drill. Just like in Kihon Waza, uke was prescribed to set up the drill. Okay? So same thing when I'm here, I'm going to be uke. I'm not going to go, you would never, I'll tell you right now, never pass that arm. Aggress, irimi. Okay? So the drill for uke is he keeps setting that up. Come on, dude. There it is. So you see, I'm going to not stop. So that he keeps getting it in a more fluid starting point. So I keep going. There. And he wants to relax, tighten his movement, shrink the windows for the timing. Oh, that's a lot of timing. A lot of fighting, a lot of contestation. So go, this is what that felt like. Keep going. Yep, straight, dude. If you're going to change the drill, I'm going to change the drill. Right. Okay? You got it? Right. Okay. So, one, straight, you're here. Keep going. You see? There's no non-contestation of your jiu-jitsu. So, you feel that difference? So, always yielding. Yielding and adhering. Find the head. Don't yield on the straight line. Over, he goes. Boom. So yield on the spiral, diagonals, spiral. Boom. There you go. He went straight. You went curved. Boom. Boom. There it is. Okay. So fix yourself, okay? I'll take you off the mat. Okay, so what we're seeing now is he's going, go, boom, 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 and you're starting to go like this. You see? But you're in front of the guy now. This is not the technique. He's supposed to be over there so that I can do my centripetal energy. He's going forward, and that's what takes him down. Your problem with the Irimi Tenkan version of Irimi Nage is, again, you filled in the blank, okay? The Tenkan is not where the Kuzushi happens. This same thing is happening here, okay? It's not that I'm going like this and then he's going down. That's not what's happening in the Tenkan version, okay? So I'm doing the first one, right? And there's all this weight. You see, it can easily happen. So the weight, he starts to fall here. I can't bring him back that way. The weight falls here, and I non-contest, right? So he give me some weight here, and I move out of the way. Same thing. It's not this streamlined. Okay, so in this drill though, we're not doing the Tenkan version, so let it go, forget it. He's going, he's penetrating, boom, boom, boom. I'm on the straight line. Hey, fix myself, get some angles, boom, there it is. Ah, that's it. Get some angles, wow, boom, that's it. Pass the arm, boom, that's it. That should be my drill. If you're finding yourself Tenkaning, you're doing it wrong. There you go.